Hello and welcome to another episode of the in-depth review series where we take an older, once mainstream car and review it as if it were a brand new car. This is how Neighborhood Car Reviews digitally preserves these cars to enjoy for years to come. Today's review subject is possible because of the amazing folks over at Community Outlet Center in Spencer, Indiana. Make sure to check them out online as they always seem to have a very diverse inventory in rotation. 1986 saw a radical change in the midsize family sedan market with the introduction of the Ford Taurus and Mercury Sable. With the new Taurus and Sable, the midsize family sedan was no longer the boring, boxy, uninspired car, but rather a technical tour de force. It quickly became the best-selling car in North America and would remain so for quite some time. This trend would continue, but the import market offerings, especially through the Honda Accord and Toyota Camry, would quickly catch up to the Taurus, with the Camry surpassing the Taurus in sales market. For 9 years, the Taurus design was more evolutionary rather than revolutionary. Ford needed to change the Taurus, so in 1996 we saw a dramatic redesign that was love it or hate it. The oval theme was a bit overdone, but they looked like nothing else on the road. However, 2000 would see a redesign to a more angular, less oval, and gone is the SHO sadly, and for this video we land on the 4th generation Ford Taurus. Hey everyone, in today's latest installment of the in-depth review series, we travel back to 2002 and we take a look at this very nice and pretty well equipped for its time Ford Taurus. Now today's Ford Taurus is an SES trim level. It is painted in Arizona beige clear coat metallic, and it does feature the medium parchment cloth interior. Today's review is going to be a full in-depth review. We're going to cover everything from the exterior to the interior, powertrain, fuel economy, and everything else in between. Now I do have full pricing on screen from when this car was brand new, and a full list of the options in the description box below, so make sure you go ahead and check that out. Of course, the Taurus is front-wheel drive, and while the much more desirable Duratec dual overhead cam 24-valve V6 engine was a $700 option, our car is equipped with a standard 3-liter single overhead cam 12-valve Vulcan V6 engine. This engine is of cast iron block and head construction with electronic sequential fuel injection and a 9.3-to-1 compression ratio. The engine block was cast at Ford's Cleveland engine plant, while the intake was cast at their Essex aluminum casting plant. Final engine assembly was at the Lima assembly plant in Ohio. This engine creates 155 horsepower at 4,900 RPM and 185 pound-feet of torque at 3,950 RPM. It can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 10.1 seconds. 0 to 100 miles per hour comes in at 29.8 seconds, with a quarter mile hitting in at 17.5 seconds at 78 miles per hour. Top speed is electronically limited to around 110 miles per hour. The Taurus is equipped with a 16.4 US gallon fuel capacity, and it consumes 4.8 gallons per 100 miles driven, with an estimated total driving range of around 344 miles. EPA fuel economy figures on this car are 18 miles per gallon in the city, 25 miles per gallon on the highway, and a combined average of 21 miles per gallon. The sole available transmission is an electronically controlled 4-speed AX4S automatic with a 3.98-to-1 final drive ratio. Steering on the car is hydraulic power-assisted variable rate rack and pinion with 2.9 turns lock-to-lock and a 39.8-foot turning radius. It features a 17-to-1 overall ratio. The wheels on this car are 16 by 6.5 inch 5-spoke painted aluminums and are shot on 215/60 R16 Solar 4XS all-season tires. Brakes are power-assisted front disc rear drums with 10.9-inch vented rotors up front and 8.9-inch rear drums. The brakes are assisted by ABS and can halt the Taurus from 70 miles per hour to 0 in about 196 feet. Alright, now as we walk along the rear of the car, of course, just like I do in all my videos, I'm going to cover the rear detail in depth. But as you can see, this car still remains a very modern design even to this day, 22 years later. Alright, so around the rear of the Taurus, it is very heavily identified by its angular shape. a far cry from the more rounded shape of the previous generation. However, it does keep some of the previous generation items, such as the side windows and the doors, and I think the side view mirrors as well. But everything else is pretty much brand new stampings. Coming down to these taillights, very large red angular tail lamps. They contain a single bulb back here that has a dual filament for the brake light, turn indicator, and tail light. And then of course you have the integral reverse light. Back here we do have our Taurus SES badging, and of course across the license plate plinth in a chrome surround, very nice wing surround, we have the Ford logo. We've also got a keyless or key trunk release there. And this car only has a single exhaust outlet, stainless steel exhaust. But as you can see around the rear, it's a very nice looking car, even to this day. Looks quite modern. And as we walk along the profile, for a full-size car, as you can see from the on-screen dimensions, it's not outwardly huge, but the interior cabin, Ford did a really good job of interior fitment and measurements, and it created a very nice roomy cabin, and that makes the Taurus a very comfortable riding car. And as we walk along the front, just like we did in the rear, we're going to cover the front detail in depth, but just take a look at it. Just a very nice sloping, sharp sloping, very aerodynamic design. Overall, just a very nice car. Alrighty, up front, this Taurus looks a far cry different from the predecessor. Very angular in design, however, you can still tell it's a Taurus. Still quite a forward design. On this car, we do have the body side color skull caps on the side view mirrors. Coming down the long stamped aluminum hood into the clear lens composite reflector headlamps. Just halogen headlamps, high beam, low beam, amber turn indicator bulbs there. They also serve as your side indicators as well with reflectors. This vehicle has no fog lights on it. And of course we have the Ovid Ford grille. It does have a honeycomb section, and that same winged chrome strip frames the Ford logo just like it does on the trunk. Alright, now before we get inside, let's take a look and see what we have for the key. We just have a standard Ford key fob, dual blade key, very simple in its design, not really much to write home about. But we do also have the remote keyless entry system, and it's just a very simple button. Ford uses key fob on almost all of their cars for a very long production run. Very simple to operate. You have lock, unlock, panic, and your trunk release. Now this particular car does not have the keypad entry system, so we just have the keyless remote entry. To lock it, simply press the lock button, and to unlock it, just simply press the unlock button. One lock or one hit, the first hit will unlock the driver's door, the second hit will unlock all doors. And to note, this car also has a really nice puddle lamps on the side view mirrors, and they do illuminate the ground below to identify puddles or any hazards as you approach the car at night, which is a really nice welcome feature. Speaking of welcome feature, let's take a look inside. Now inside we have a very spacious cabin, very comfortable cloth seats. Taking a look at the interior in detail here. Let's take a look at the door panel. It is a two-tone treatment here. We have the dark parchment and the medium parchment. On this car, it does have the perforated vinyl inserts up front. They used to be cloth, but they've been replaced with this. It's kind of a nice touch. Chrome door pulls here. And of course, we also have our power mirror controls, power door locks, power windows with auto one-touch driver down, and our window lockout. Driver door pull, padded armrest, a safety reflector for when the doors open, and a mat pocket. And of course, we've also got our door speakers. If you had the premium sound system, an additional tweeter would be up here in the A-pillar. Taking a quick look at the driver's side panel. Just standard headlamp control here. No fog lamps, no automatic headlamp or anything like that. Instrument panel brightness and dim here. This is our tilt steering wheel lever here. Down here in the lower portion, we have our trunk release, parking brake release, our hood release, and an assortment of pedals. This is our parking brake, and of course we just have the gas and brake pedal. No manual transmission offered in the Taurus. Nothing in the way of entry sill plates. This car does have the 6-way power driver's seat, manual seat back adjust, however. Taking a look at the seats. Now the seats are Ford's 40-20-40 split folding bench seats. What's unique about these seats is the fact that the actual front seats are individual bucket seats, individually adjustable from the rest of the car. But what we have here fixed in place is a center armrest. Now, you can lift the center armrest and you have a small position for a 6th passenger. This car does have a lap belt for it. However, you do have this console that folds out, just like so. And then you can put the armrest back down. So you have a nice little center console with the cup holders and some storage here. And of course, you could flip the multi-fold console back up and return the armrest back into its position. The seats in this car, pretty basic. They're very nice supportive cloth seats with high adjustable head restraints. The cloth is in really nice shape. Doesn't have any lumbar support or anything like that. But overall, the seats are very comfortable and they are very supportive. Alrighty, let's take a look at the rest of the interior. Alright, now we're inside. We're going to pan through the interior. We're going to show more details. As you can see here, hydraulic assisted power steering on a vinyl wrapped 4-spoke steering wheel. It is a very seamless steering wheel. There's no indication of the steering wheel being separate pieces, and that is due to the seamless airbag design. It gives a very nice cohesive appearance. I do like this design of the 4-spoke steering wheel. It's probably one of my favorites, actually. It does have the colored Ford logo here, and then just basic controls. We have our cruise controls. Over here, we have the off and on, or on and off buttons over here, so they control cruise control power. Over here on the right-hand side, we have the set, accelerate, coast and deaccelerate, and resume. And then over here, we do have our multi-function controller that control wiper washer controls, turn signals. We've also got our high beam and flash to pass and all that kind of stuff. Here on the top of the steering column is our 4-way flashers. And let's move the shifter out of the way. Get a look at the instrument cluster here. Instrument cluster is pretty basic. It does have the fuel level, coolant temperature, 120 mile per hour speedometer, and a 7,000 RPM tach. At the time of this recording, this vehicle has 145,252 miles on it. Moving over the top of the dash retains that darker beige color as the rest of the door tops do. And we have a large airbag cover over here. The only seam is this portion right here. Everything else is pretty seamless. We've also got a passenger side air vent that's adjustable. We have a nice large glove box inside. And then of course, in the center part of the console or control panel, we have 2 adjustable air vents here. And they have a really nice chrome tipped knobs there. Taking a look at the integrated control panel, what we have here is all of our radio and climate controls into one panel. And that is pretty much carried over in concept from the previous generation Taurus. However, it's more squared off and not oval. So right here we have just an AM, FM, and a CD player in this car. And down below we do have the manual climate controls. And what's carried over from the previous one is the orange backlighting for the climate controls to kind of differentiate the 2 levels. Radio was illuminated green, and of course the radio or the climates were illuminated orange. Fan speed over here on the left, temperature selector in the middle, and panel distribution and AC controls over here on the right. Very easy to operate. Moving down, we have a nice little storage tray here. We have a 12-volt power socket. We have an ashtray that pulls out of the dashboard here, and an additional power socket here as well. Just the transmission tunnel here for the front seat passenger if you so choose. But as shown before, you can fold up your multi-function console and create a nice little bucket seating area. Now taking a look overhead, we just have a manually dimming rearview mirror. And overhead, we do have illuminated sun visors. Very nice. It does have adjustable lighting here. And my favorite portion of the sun visors is that they do swing out. They do not slide. However, we do have a secondary visor that can slide back and forth. This is a sun visor design that I wish was in every single car. I'm not really sure why they stopped doing this. I know it's probably because of cost, but you know, it is what it is. And of course, we've also got height adjustable seat belts, and in the ceiling overhead, we have overhead reading lights. So here you go, the front seat portion of the 2002 Ford Taurus. All right, let's take a look at the rear seat now. Rear doors open nice and wide and reveal a nice, large, and wide bench seat for the rear seat passengers. The rear doors carry the same theming as the front doors. However, they still have their cloth inserts in place, so that's what it would look like up front. But I do like the perforated vinyl up front. Still have the chrome door pulls, power window switches here. You have your padded armrest, safety reflector, and some storage in the pockets. We've also got some storage in the seat back mat pockets as well, which is a very nice and welcome feature. Overhead, we do have overhead assist handles and coat hooks. A lot of glass area back here for very nice visibility and kind of an airiness about it. And of course, you also have your top tether and anchor for your child seats. And speaking of the rear seats, they do seat 3 across. It is a 60/40 split folding seat, and it does have 3-point belts for all passenger seating areas. Common today, not very common back then. No height adjustable head restraints back here, however. To fold the seats is very, very easy. You can do it from within the car, just pulling on these tabs here. This is the 60 portion of the seat here. And this is the 40 portion of the seat. Very nice feature to have, and also very nice that you can do it from inside the car. All right, another neat feature back here, we do have cup holders, and they come out of the console. And they kind of lock in place, but there you have it. 2 cup holders for the rear seat passengers of the Ford Taurus. They're a little bit flimsy, but at least you have them until you don't, and then you have drinks spilled all over your carpet. But I digress. Alrighty, there are 3 ways to open the trunk on this car. First and easiest way is just by pressing this button here on the lower portion of the driver's side instrument panel. The other way is just by taking your key. You can just stick it in the keyhole here. And you can turn it to the right of the car and it'll open the trunk for you. Or you can just use the key fob and press and hold the trunk release button on the fob. And then you just open it up from there. All right, so what we have here is a very cavernous, fully lined and carpeted trunk. Does have a removable tray here with your compact spare tire with jack and tools. It's also illuminated back here as well. You also have an emergency fuel cutoff, and you can also see the openings for the 60/40 split folding seat. In addition, you also have an emergency release lever here in the event that you get trapped in your car. And to close the trunk, you just go like this. Alrighty, there you have it. The detailed review of the 2002 Ford Taurus. We hope you found the review informative, and if you did, please comment down below. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/neighborhoodcarreviews and our Instagram channel at BrensoJ1. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.